Toyota factory. Then finally, the Turkey is very famous for belly dance. Using belly. It's very so very much belly dance is very much erotic. So, but at this time, I show you more moderate YouTube. I'm going to show you if we have a time. Okay, so today we have more than 50 slides. So we're going to spend only a couple of hours. So I'm going to quickly passing through the whole way. But first, okay, then getting the first slide is I'm going to show you the Turkey statistics, and their population is 77 million. Is almost half of Japanese population, and this is secular. Secular means non-religious republic, and parliamentary secular republic, and they are also almost all people Islamic Sunni section. Then Turkey people is 70% and Kurdish 20%, other 12%, and GDP per capita is the same as Shanghai, Beijing, Guangzhou. This is 10,000 US dollars. It's a very good figure they have. And Gini coefficient is medium, and their industry is fairly advancing or mixing. Let's say automobile, and just I'm going to show you Toyota factory, and shipbuilding, and tourism. Tourism is also very famous. And I don't read in detail, but you can have a second section, second paragraph. This country, the annual growth is 2015 4.5%, and this year is down to 3.5%. So it means still fairly good figures compared with European countries. Okay, and currently they have the last paragraph say just why they going to have the bad evaluation of Standard & Poor's because of Erdogan caught 100 journalists in jail. So European people oversee Turkey not as the democratic country. So what this means is European people, because Turkey is close to Europe, so European people oversee them as not stable. Okay, so something, show you the slide is talking about after coup. Coup is the last July, this year July. So I'm going to do some BU2 for coup.
This is Counting the Cost on Al Jazeera. We've seen huge political upheaval in a country massively hooked on foreign capital. Look at the economic repercussions of recent events in Turkey. It's enough to put the rest of the world off from doing business on the Asia-Europe crossroads. Also this week, Italy. And if you thought Brexit was bad news, take a close look at the banking crisis going on in Italy. It may be a far greater threat to the Eurozone than the UK's referendum, as Italy faces a battle with Brussels over new rules on bailouts. And an island in the Gulf positioning itself as Iran's flagship free trade zone, Island, a tourist destination now trying to compete with the big trade and investment spots in the region. So last week we talked about how much could change in a year. That was Iran. Well, how about how much has changed in a week in Turkey? A 3-month state of emergency now in force, along with that lightning-fast move by President Erdogan to purge so many of the country's institutions after the failed coup. The stories of the arrests and sackings are well documented, but we have to keep an eye on the economy, short and long term. For example, travel and tourism, both vital sources of revenue for the economy, are likely to decline. In fact, they were already struggling after bombings of cities and airports. Turkey may also find it harder to fund its current account shortfall, that is the gap between the value of imports and exports. And in Turkey there is a deficit at the moment estimated at about 4.5% of GDP. So far, the government is stressing that it's business as usual. It's trying to reassure the markets because we know the one thing any market dislikes is instability. But really, Turkey's economy was slowing even before recent events. Growth now expected to come in at around 4% this year or under. And the outlook doesn't get much better, I'm afraid. Turkey's currency, the lira, hit an all-time low versus the dollar this week. Ratings agency Moody's has put Turkey's debt on review. And S&P Global Ratings downgraded Turkey's sovereign debt further below investment grade and changed the country's outlook to negative. Following the attempted coup, it said, "We believe the polarization of Turkey's political landscape has further eroded its institutional checks and balances." It also talked about heightened unpredictability, constraining capital inflows into Turkey. All of this means it's more expensive for the government to borrow on international...
Oh, okay. After coup, what happened in Turkey is Erdogan caught in custody about 10,000 people and dismissed many people from government officials and universities and many diversified industry areas. So Westerners, especially European people, have skepticism toward Turkey. So this economy is a little bit deteriorating.